Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Okay. Today, Mr. Shem, we're starting a new Torah. This one we. Okay. Mr. Shem, we're going to learn Torah Samech 60, Likutey Moharan. Rabbeinu starts with Maimar from the Idra Rabba Kadisha. That's a part of Sefer Zohar. There's a profound secrets of so it's a Torah that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai has revealed to his Talmidim. It's Pashas Nasa. And it says as follows. Pastor Rabbi Shimon Ve'amar. The very beginning, this is the first time that there's been an open revelation of Seides HaTorah so explicitly. So Sharon explains why this had to be done, because we know that usually the Torah says that the Ma'aseh Merkava, B'Yochid, and so on. I mean, B'Shnayim and B'Yochid. This is not things, these are not limudim that you learn the rabbin. So, what's changed? It's a very, very important nekuda to point out that it wasn't long before Rabbi Shimon, it was around that time, that Oysa Ish, that is, the head figure for literally millions and millions of people, Jewish people dying throughout the generations, that has made himself an Avodah Zarah. And that was the era. And I think that he was a Talmud of Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachia, if I'm not mistaken. And as it was, him and his followers basically have defiled the most profound concept of Yiddishkeit that is far, far bigger damage to Yiddishkeit than all the people that they killed. I mean, you can't kill a Jew. I mean, you can kill a life, chas v'chalila, whatever is in a body, but you're not doing anything. I mean, but what he did and what his followers did was that they damaged the concept of the tzaddik. In many, many places in Likutey Moharan and other limudim, who say the profundity of the importance of the tzaddik. The Chal speaks about it, and But when it's taken, when the snake takes a bite of the apple, it leaves bite marks and spit on the place that it bit. And the concept of the tzaddik was damaged to the point that people started being, and rightfully so, started being, very suspicious and very careful. What we found, this is a concept that repeats itself. It has repeated itself throughout the generation. You have Shabtai Tzvi, you have Frank, you had all kinds of false messiahs that repeated themselves. I mean, the tzaddik in on itself is the mainstay of the Yiddishkeit of people. All the Torah Chesed, this is the Ikar HaChayes you receive from the tzaddik, and it's a very, very profound inyan. So that particular concept was damaged in that era, by Oisa Ish. And the tikkun for that gam was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is a brand new revelation, and in order to be able to be poiled, in order to be able to be effective, things have to be from now on, from the time of Rabbi Shimon, things have to be open. Things have to be, visible to all. I mean, yes, they're covered up all over again immediately when they're being taught. I mean, you can learn Zohar, and if you don't know Kabbalas Arizal, you don't really know what you're learning. But the Torah is always like that. Whatever it is that is being revealed is still being concealed again, and you need more revelations and more revelations. But this was, the Beis Hamikdash, was destroyed, and that was the era in which Am Yisrael was in a tremendously precarious situation. It was a big breakage, and there had to be a new revelation, which is equally stunning and new as Moshe Rabbeinu was in his time. And Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't the only Navi. His father was a Navi. Aaron Cohen was a Navi. Moshe Rabbeinu, it's you already turned Am Yisrael from, as Rabbeinu called them, a band of gypsies, into a nation. Kabbalah Satira. And that light of Moshe Rabbeinu continued all the way. They had ups and downs and so forth and so on, but there was the big valley, the big gorge that happened during Chorban Beis Hamikdash necessitated a new gilui of the same neshama that visited itself the first time in Moshe Rabbeinu. It took Moshe Rabbeinu 80 years of self-work to be able to receive that neshama, that gilui, which he received in the revelation of the sneh, of the burning bush. This is where he received his nevuah and received that portion of the neshama, in addition to the neshama that you already had before. That neshama is the neshama that did not participate. That's the neshama that the Kodesh Baruch Hu, it gave the Kodesh Baruch Hu the guarantee before the world was created that it will guarantee the tikkun of Am Yisrael, even though it was obvious to Kodesh Baruch Hu Midas HaEmes that men will sin. And if men will sin, Kodesh Baruch Hu is reality. I mean, you can't just, take something and drop it and says, don't fall on the floor. And because same thing, sinning, Kodesh Baruch Hu is Melok Alatz Kvoidei. Sinning and without the possibility of sinning, there's no bechira. So the whole bria is an exercise in Kodesh Baruch Hu serving himself. So there has to be a possibility of people sinning, making a choice. Now that particular choice, nevertheless creates a situation that Kadosh Baruch Hu gives the entire vitality and life force to creation. And a person is using the Koyach Kadosh Baruch Hu to go against the Ratzon of Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's a physical impossibility. There has to be, so Midei Sama said, don't create man. He's going to sin before you. No. So that particular neshama, which is the klolios of all nishmas Israel, came to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and it gave a Kadosh Baruch Hu. He knew that Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world dafka that way. There's a very, very deep explanation why Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create that the world will come to his tikkun dafka through a man that will dafka sin. And when you come to think of it, it's really very self-explanatory. The minute that Kadosh Baruch Hu creates anything which is defined, a world, person, has a ratzon, has mitzias, whatever it is, it's already the opposite of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu, per definition, is undefined. There's nothing you can take the highest malachim, the highest archangels, whatever you want to call it, the highest being, between them and the Kadosh Baruch Hu, there's no comparison. It's infinite. There's no it's not there's nothing compared. There's no shaykhis bichlal. The Apterov said, we say in Tefillah Shabbos, Yom HaShvi Yishabech v'omer lefichach yidu v'yishabchu yifaru. Since Yom HaShvi, it says Yom HaShvi is praising Kadosh Baruch Hu, therefore, all the creations will praise the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So the Apterov says, just a second, if Shabbos is not Mishabech Kadosh Baruch Hu, that nobody else can Mishabech Kadosh Baruch Hu, was it? Since Yom HaShvi Mishabech v'omer, then all the creations can Mishabech. He says, because there is no shaykhas between the creations and Kadosh Baruch Hu. You can't even come to the notion of praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu any more than you can put your hand inside your head and touch a sword. Nothing more to talk about. Kadosh Baruch Hu made a go-between. Yom HaShabbos. Yom HaShabbos, on one hand, it's a physical reality. It's a day, okay? But the essence of Shabbos is Kula Elokus, is Kula Kodesh. It's mamish godliness. You enter the Shabbos. I mean, we exist in the realm of time. We enter Shabbos. And what we're doing mostly, yes, there's a Chodesh Shamor, there's Kiddush, there are all kinds of mitzvahs. But the crux of Hilchos Shabbos is bitul, is don't do. Lamates Malachas, you don't do this, you don't do that, all the different things that you don't do. What you're doing is you are being misbattled to the content that is sandwiched inside the Shabbos, which is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. But you exist in the realm of time. You enter Shabbos as a human being. And by being mevatis after Shabbos, you eat the Shabbos, whatever it is you do for Shabbos, you connect yourself to Kadosh Baruch Hu. So Yom HaShvi, Mishabech v'omer, since you have a Yom HaShabbos, you have such a day, that is Kula Elokus, that is Galus Elokus here in this world. Therefore, everybody else can also now have Shaykhs to Kadosh Baruch Hu, can have Nigi, can accessibility to Mishabech Kadosh Baruch Hu and so forth. Because without it, you can never even praise a Kadosh Baruch Hu, because we don't even know what we're talking about. When we praise a Kadosh Baruch Hu, we have no idea what's going on. But Kadosh Baruch Hu, in truth, all the Shvachim, Rabbeinu said in the Sichas, it says there's a big, huge chesed. In fact, it's the biggest chesed Kadosh Baruch Hu did with us. that he gave us permission to call him all these names, Agodol, Agibor, Anoira, all these things, as a vis-a-vis Kadosh Baruch Hu, it's a joke, really. And it's like like a even this, obviously this is not even a marshal, but like a kid coming to Einstein and telling him, "Wow, I heard that you can read without nekudas." Come on, it's just like it's all the praises of Praise Kodesh Baruch Hu is a joke vis-a-vis Kodesh Baruch Hu. Mimela, the malachim, what the malachim can perceive is, how can you create man? He's going to sin before you. Even vis-a-vis the asaga that the malachim have of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's impossible. It's like a person should self-destruct automatically just making a vera. It can't be. But Rabbi Nosson writes that the saga of the tzaddikim is much higher than the saga of the malachim. The malachim is, listen, it's black, it's white. You can, you can't. I mean, it's straightforward. But the tzaddikim understand being a Kodesh Baruch Hu is anything, any kind of closeness to a Kodesh Baruch Hu is in and on itself contradictory because Baruch Hu is Ein Sof. How can you become close to him? So anything that you'll ever do will never bring you any closer, except if you fall. If you fall and you get to feel that you have no chance, that's it. I'm out of here. My goose is cooked. Might as well stick a fork in me. I'm done. Finished. And despite that, you get up and you start again. Even though you know you don't deserve it. Even though, according to the cheshbon, according to an angelic point of view, it's over. To get up, despite that, to do that, that's the only way that a defined, constricted creation can come closer as well. Because there's no chance. But despite of that, this is a bechina of Ein Sof. Ein Sof is the other side of nothing. That is the reason why when Am Yisrael had served the golden calf in the desert, Moshe Rabbeinu took the luchos and threw them down to the ground. And it says, as it is said, "Vatosh lacha emes arza," and the truth was thrown to the ground. And also writes, what good does it do? Take the truth and fling it against the wall. Tell the truth. What is it? What good does it do that you throw it to the ground? He says, Moshe Rabbeinu was meramez that after a person sins, the reason why there is a be'efsher, a possibility for a person to sin, is because the only way to get to Kodesh Baruch Hu is after you fell to the ground and you're toast. That's it. There's no more hope anymore. Nevertheless, you get up. This is how the defined and constricted can communicate and connect to the infinite. From there, the truth has to grow from the ground. In other words, mevatel. You see, the entire creation is based upon that principle. How does anything grow? You put it in the ground, and it becomes verschimmelt, it rots, and then it grows. In other words, there's nothing can grow before it can become nothing, because being misbottled from there, this is where growth comes from. This also explains this Indian of why we have to go through life in this world. And afterwards, we have to leave this world. We have to go through what they call the long sleep in the kever. Also, it says because the only way that the neshama can actually reach the heights that it's supposed to reach is only when the physical vessel the neshama resides becomes reduced to nothing. Then the neshama can reach the highest level. So Am Yisrael was in this calamitous situation. Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. You have this false savior that basically takes the world on a. The Rambam gives a whole explanation why dafka him. Now, why dafka this particular concept? He says this is to prepare for Mashiach, because when Mashiach will come, all those who follow that and follows that man will recognize the concept, right? As a tzaddik, that he is the one that will get you to where you need to get. So we are talking here in a situation where Am Yisrael is in the harshest situation possible, and so Kodesh Baruch Hu comes and dafka from those depths comes Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and grows. He goes into the cave, for 10 years, and then he goes for 2 more years, and they have to go back. And when he comes out being melubish with that neshama that gave the Kodesh Baruch Hu the guarantee before B'riyas Ha'olam, go ahead, create the world. Before you give a loan, you need a guarantor. The guarantor gives a sign. Okay, go ahead, you can have the money. The neshama gave a guarantee that the world can be created. The world is created. That neshama comes down, Moshe Rabbeinu, and the Torah is being given. Now this neshama that was in this world already by Moshe Rabbeinu, it was mistalik, and it went up and up and up, and Misalioni become higher and more accomplished. It comes down again. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, through his, being buried, being planted in the cave for 10 years, and then going out and still return for 2 more years. And when he's coming out, he is starting to teach, shatter in a way that was never revealed before. And in the very beginning of Torah Samach, in the Idur Rabba Kadisha, which is the beginning, that's the great assembly, the Holy Assembly. Rabbi Shimon starts and says why shatter this is the time for that to be revealed. Pastor Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai started. It's a time to do for the sake of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. The pasuk continues a fair Torah Techa. There's Mitahillim is one of the Kuf Teslav, one of the 8 pesukim of the Ois Ayin. Es Asad Lashem a fair Torah Techa. It's time to do for the sake of Kodesh Baruch Hu. They have disobeyed your Torah. So there are many explanations. What is this pasuk actually saying? So we're going to say, it says, Amai es asot Hashem. Why is this, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, why is it time to do for HaKadosh Baruch Hu's sake? In other words, what is the need to reveal the secrets of the Torah? This is the hidden treasure of the world. By the way, any level of Torah is always Pchinas Nista to the one before. Now, Torah Sheba'al Peh is Nista compared to Torah Shebenigla, Torah Shebeksav. And Kabbalah's Torah is, compared to Torah Sheba'al Peh, the Gemara, and so forth and so on. It's in and in and in and in. Omak Mel Gavoy Mel Gavoy. What is the need to reveal these incredible studies that Torah Shimon Bar Yochai is going to reveal? Mishum defer Sorasecha, because your Torah has been disobeyed because many people was made for the Torah. So it says, what kind of Torah are we talking about? I mean, that's not the first time that Am Yisrael was, were, doing all kinds of shtuyot. I mean, it's like nothing new, It's the second Beis Hamikdash. First Beis Hamikdash was but here we're talking about my Torah. What Torah was disturbed? Torah Dileila. Now we're talking about the Torah of above. In other words, the Sodas of Torah, the secrets of the Torah, they were disturbed. The misbatla that will be misbatla, will be cancelled out. If we are not going to be dealing with this specific rectification that he's going to be talking about. In other words, if we are not going to reveal the Kabbalah, the Sod Olam Atikon, because we learn in Torah Daled that we just finished last week, in Likutey Moharan base, we learned that there were two stages of the illumination of Kadosh Baruch Hu shown into the world. The first step was when Shviras HaKelim, where Kadosh Baruch Hu shone the primordial light, the infinite light into the primordial spheres, and they could not contain the light, and they shattered. They fell into the level of the klipot and defilement, and this is where the klipot get the life source, the vitality to exist in this world. They can't win the World Series without the primordial light falling into the klipot. This is Kadosh Baruch Hu boine oilamos umachrivan. Kadosh Baruch Hu creates worlds and rebuilds them. The second time around, Kadosh Baruch Hu has now created the spheres that were able. Now this is the spheres 2.0. This is a higher version. The initial sphere could not contain more than what they were. Chesed is only Chesed. Gvura is only Gvura. It's called, in the jargon of it's called Moichin de Katnos. It's called constricted consciousness. What does it mean? It's you take a kid, take a child. A child is in a state of constricted consciousness, meaning what is sweet must be good, or hurts must be bad. What about something that is sweet and bad, or hurts and good? It can't be. That shatters the mind of the child. No, forget about it. I want ice cream. Don't take me to the dentist. This is more in the katnos. The primordial spheres were just more in the katnos. Chesed, only sweet. It can't hurt. If it hurt, the whole thing blows up. Gvura is only Gvura, and so forth and so on. So a light of Ein Sof that contains all the possibilities, all the computations, into Moichin de Katnos, inevitably it just blows apart, and the shards and the oasis and the lights fall down to the Kelipot, as we learned in previous Torah. So now Kadosh Baruch Hu, there's stage B. Stage B is what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is talking about. Here it's called Olam Atikon. Now the spheres are upgraded. Now every sphere contains all 10 of them. So you have Chesed, you have Chesed of Chesed, you have Gvura of Chesed, and so forth and so on. As we know, it's Spheres Omer. So now it can contain, you can understand, there is a candy, but, there is cavities. There is an injection that hurts, but, it's inoculation. In other words, it can contain two opposites. This is already Moichin de Gadlus. Now this is the upgraded spheres. Okay, the light itself is also dimmed down. So now they can exist together. This is called Olam Atikun, the world of rectification. Now we have a dual situation. We have one situation in which the much, much higher light, the light of Shiva and Bereshis, before everything, that is spread out in shards and sparks in the Kalipot. And we have, they call Marechet Mesuderet, the orderly system of a diminished light, more capable, spheres 2.0, that can exist. That in this Olam Atikun, all the Torah that we learn, all the mitzvahs that we're Mekayim, the mitzvahs Aseh and everything, is in Olam Atikun. The retrievance of the primordial light, as we explained in Torah Dalet, is done by withstanding the nisyonis of the Yetzer Hara. You can serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu with a piece of non-kosher meat. How? By not eating it. So there is a elokus in it, but you cannot consume it. You cannot actually take it out and retrieve that godly light which is in there by dealing with it. In other words, by consuming it. The only way that you deal with is by staying away from it. And with this, you are retrieving the primordial light in little bits of pieces of the oisius and the nitzotzes, whatever it is, and you make it your own. Any kind of Yetzer Hara that you have, any kind of thought, of licentious thought that you may have in your mind, any kind of temptation to do this or to see that, whatever it is, people can think, I don't know what the heck is going on with you, man. Well, I'm out of control. I don't understand what's going on with me. The Rebbeinu says, don't worry about it. Just fight it, that's it. Don't come out with new conclusions about whether you're worth it or you're not worth it. Don't go there. This is those thoughts, those temptations are coming your way in order for you to be able to retrieve those little pieces of the primordial light, the big one, before the Big Bang, as you say. Yeah? And when now you're learning Torah, and you're doing the mitzvahs aseh, and you're davening, you're taking all the different pieces, and you put the puzzle together. You have the new light, and you have the older light. Now you have kelim for asagas alakus you never had before. So they say Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, there's no way. There's a danger for this Torah dil Eilo, the Torah above the Sodas of Torah, that Chas v'Chalila can be lost unless we will reveal the secrets, the mystery of Olam Atikun, of the world of rectification. And he says that, and he said, Ula'atik yoimin itmar, and this tikkun of this persona, this heavenly, this spiritual persona called Atik yoimin. Atik yoimin means both, ancient of days, which means it's beyond time, any concept of time. And also the Atik yoimin means also, the Atik means that it is taken away, it is put aside, put far. It's Atik, is netak, it's moved on. All the lower sodas of Torah are already, there's some kind of a perception in them. But in that level of Atik Yomin, there's no perception whatsoever. There's a level of Atik Yomin itself does not perceive itself even. So this persona of Atik Yomin, which is the sphere of the Keser, it says the pasuk, and the reason why is because this is the very beginning, the Keser of the Tikkun of the Keser of Atik Yomin. That is the beginning of the highest realm is called Olam Atzilus, the realm, the world of emanation. See, Ashrecha Yisrael mikamocha. Ashrecha Am Yisrael, who is like you? The Torah is Mishabeach Am Yisrael, who is like you? Uksiv mikamocha ba'elim Hashem. Who is like you on those of stupendous power? I mean, that's the Shevach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Shevach, the praise of Am Yisrael, is mikamocha, who is like you. And the Shevach of the Kodesh Baruch Hu is also in the world of mikamocha. This is the reason why it is befitting to reveal to that nation, which it says mikamocha, to reveal to them the secrets, the mysteries of Kodesh Baruch Hu, upon whom it says mikamocha. Mikamocha deserves the mikamocha. That's the reason why, to reveal to them. He called Rabbi Elazar his son. He's put him before him on the right hand. In other words, because Rabbi Elazar represented the Midas HaChochma. Shimon Bar Yochai represents the Keser. After the Keser comes the B'chinas HaChochma, which is the right side, what's it called? Kav Yamin, the right line. Rabbi Abba, he sat on his left side, that it represents the sphere of Bina. This is the beginning of the left-hand side, the left line, as it were. We represent the totality of everything. Now, it was me, the middle, and both of you, Chochmah and Bina, together represents the totality of all reality. Everything that comes afterwards is basically an iteration of these three Bechinot. Keter, Chochmah, and Bina. Well, okay, I'm sorry, I don't understand. What is it? So let's, maybe before we move a little bit, oh man, we'll talk a little bit about this union of the Sefirot just because we're here. And so, in the very beginning, we said that the primordial light was in the consecutive Sefirot that were like in order, one after the other. Was a Keter, Chochmah, Bina, Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, everything was one straight line. This cannot contain. This is like all about everything to the side, nothing, to nothing. You cannot contain anything. But the 2.0 version, now it comes out in three lines. You have the right, and you have the left, and you have the middle. So the Chochmah is the right. It's the giving. The Bina explains the Chochmah. That's the left. Afterwards, you have the Das, which combines both the Chochmah and the Bina. So if we were to explain, I said it quite a few times before, Chochmah is the concept of data. So we have the 7 notes of the octave, okay? Da, 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 da. That's it. Then you have the Bina, which is the concept of musical theory. This note goes with this note, and so on and so on. You take the data, which is the 7 notes of the octave, and you put it through the musical theory, the result that you get is the song, which is the Das. It's the data, the logical system, and the applied logic, whatever, that's the Das. Everything else afterwards is just it's almost like a gear, a mechanism to interpret and to bring to fruition the initial kavana, which is already in the midas keser. Keser is the Maisa, when we say, probably anybody that ever meets the beginners of spheres, you find that sometimes you find it's Kesef Chochmah Bina, and sometimes it's Chochmah Bina Das. You can't have 11. You can only have 10. So one of them has to go. Either the Kesef is there, so Das is not counted, or else Das is counted and the Kesef is not mentioned. So when is that and when is that? What's this and what's that? The answer, Kesef really does not belong to this system of the Sfirot. Let's say we're here, okay? There is 10 Sfirot that is happening while we're sitting here and we're learning, okay? There's the Chochmah, whatever it is that I've learned, and I have it in my mind. It's in a spark. I don't have, different folders in my mind with things there, whatever. The whole thing I know is one. In other words, the entire Chochmah is in one spark. It's called Koach Ma. Everything is in one spark. Okay. Now, this has to be in order for me to understand what's going on. We have to decide I need the Bina. The Bina is the logical system that I'm able to make sense of whatever it is in my mind. The Das is the level how much I am actually one with that which I know. Okay, I have the theory in my mind. I have the Chochmah, fine. I have the Bina, I understand it. But how much do I know it? Knowledge is being that you are one with it. The Odom Yodas Chava.
You agree.
They just agree with it. You're one with it.
You want to do it too?
No, you're one. It's almost like you knowing that you're you. Nobody has to explain to you that. It's a knowledge of the just totally one thing. You know that you're you. You don't have to explain it. I don't have to show you pictures. You see this is your whatever. You are you. You know that. You with you is one. There's that kind of knowing that is completely one. It's very, very interesting. It's there's a whole shir just on this particular union of Das. But nevertheless, so I know what it is. I live with it, whatever it is, I know it. Now comes the time I have to tell you about this. So I need tools. I need social skills. The first thing that I need is I need chesed. I need to be willing to share, what I know. I have to be willing to open the faucet and give. On the other hand, I need to have the skill to be able to hold back, to shut the faucet. That's the gvura. These are already tools. It's not the essence. It's not the chokhmah. It's not the bina. It's not the actual data. It's not the actual knowledge that I have. Now it's tools. How do I give it over? I have to be willing to give it over. That's the chesed. I have to have the ability to hold back. Don't steamroll people. Like so.
Don't ask me questions.
But
don't ask me questions.
No. This is all taking place by me. All this chesed and good that we're talking about in the conjunction of this particular shir, I'm just explaining how the 10 sefirot exist here in this presence.
You mean like not asking to questions?
No, this is already from something which comes later on. We'll talk about that. Very good question. So after I have the midas chesed, which I'm willing to give, and I have the ability to give, and I have the midas gvura that I'm able to hold back. Now I need to have a certain presence of mind to weigh how much to open and how much to close. Right? This, if you notice, is a derivative of das. It's combining two. Giving, holding back, okay. And the idea is that It's the mitigation of how much to give and how much to hold back in relation to you, to the receiver. If there's a baby needs to eat, you feed it milk, drop by drop. If you feed the baby with nothing but chesed, from a pail of milk, it'll drown. If you just feed it with gvura, with a closed nipple, the baby will die of malnutrition. So what do you need? You need to have a certain kind of how much should it be open and how much it should be constricted according to the ability of the receiver to receive. That's why this third midah is called Tiferes. It's called Sphere Sarachamim. It's called the sphere of mercy, of compassion. Why? Because I may enjoy talking my head off, which is hold on. But it has to be in relationship to those who receive. So this is called Sphere Sarachim. It's called Tiferes. Splendor. Why is it called Tiferes? Why is Sphere Sarachim called Tiferes? Because it's only when the data is meted out in the precise proportions that you can digest, that you can process, that you can see the beauty of the concept that we explained to you. So the splendor of what you're getting is only revealed when whoever it is giving it to you has the proper, give and take. There's not how much to give, how much to hold back, so it doesn't become too much and you become bored and just tune out, or it becomes so boring because you're not getting anything. How much closed, how much open? Wow. That's why Tiferes is called Tzisar Rachamim. Now, there has to be a certain kind of social skill on how to give it over. Okay? As you said before, people can come up asking questions, right? Now, questions are very, very good. But the point is that we can get to the point with so many questions that may not be pertinent, may not be, productive, are being asked for the principle of how I'm allowed to ask questions that we are going to go anywhere. So I need to have a certain kind of an overpowering ability just to overpower and say, okay, let's keep the questions to the end. Still not clear at the end, you ask me. Okay? There's a certain aspect of steamrolling here. This sphere is mitzad yamin. Comes from power. It's called netzach. Netzach is a mishon nitzochen. It's called victory. I have to be able to win over you temporarily. B'tzorach ha'inyan. On the other hand, if all I just do is just steamroll over people, maybe people will, receive the understand it. No, I don't know. But one thing is for sure, they will not grow. In order for you who learn to grow, I have to step back. So you can put yourself forward and you now grasp what I'm saying, not mitzad this, that, listen, that's the way I'm telling you, and that's the way, but because you come to the realization, the guy's right. He knows what he's talking about. It's called hoid. Mishal hoidur. He's all right. That dude is fine. He's good. That's kind of hard. Now, in order for us to learn anything, to get anywhere, there has to be empathy between me, the giver, in this particular case, and you, or the receiver. That is because somebody that you like, you can learn from. Somebody you can't stand, you can learn from. This is called the sphere Yesod. In on itself, it doesn't add anything. There's no attribute in it. except that it connects me to you. I enjoy your company. I feel like talking to you and giving to you and teaching. You may enjoy my company. So, okay, I like the way the guy speaks. Okay. Then it opens up, that sympathy is a two-way street. It's close to your say so. Then comes the Malchus. Malchus is you. That's the clear, that's the receiver. Now, this is how the 10 Sfirot exist and subsist this particular situation that we are in. This sheer, in my mind, I understand it, I know it, I give, I hold back, force, step back, like you. Okay? So you have the right, and you have the left, and you have the middle. If you notice, the das is over here is to do in the present situation. What is Kesser? What is the sphere of Kesser? The sphere of Kesser is Rabbi Statman telling you guys this is going to be a shir tonight. On one hand, it's not part of what's going on here. On the other hand, it includes every single word that will be said here in a very oblique manner. It's hidden. It's atik. It's the promise. The promise includes everything that will be said here. Not only this, but the promise is the reason for the shir. That's why you have atik, you have the kesser, the promise. Why? Because the idea is that you will get the learning, into you. That's the whole idea. Even before the shir was called, that is already in atik. It's already in the kesser. Inside, it comes through the sphere of das. The whole meaning of das is how tachlis, lemaisa, to combine what I know, what I understand, and actually give it to you. And the next reiteration is tiferes. How do I give and close up and open up in the way that you can receive the most for it? Then comes an iteration of what kind of empathy there's between you and me. This is all the middle. The whole idea is so that the idea which is germinated in the Kesser find itself through all the different transmission mechanisms to the Malchus, which is you. Now you take it from where you are, you understand it in your own unique way. You're going to incorporate it into your life in your own unique way. And you're going to create a whole 10 spheres, brand new 10 spheres for you, for your family, for everything else that's come from now on. So, on one hand, the Kesser is, the very seed of everything that's going on here. In a hidden manner, it already contains as potential everything that will be said here. But it has nothing to do with the shir. It's just a promise. There's going to be a shir. 5 o'clock this afternoon, listen, 8 o'clock, somebody's going to come and talk. So if you're talking about something that will be, you're counting the kesser, and then you kesser chochmah bin, and so forth and so on. But once you're already here in the Metzias, the kesser, the promise, okay, we are already the keeping of the promise. We don't need the promise anymore. Now we're talking about das. That's Bariach Hatichain. That's the major connection between the Kesser Elyon, the Atik Yomin, and the Malchus is called Eitzel. It's called advice. In the Chochmah, if you have a trouble, if you have some kind of if you have some kind of a situation, like a better word, And you go to somebody who's really wise, like, what should I do? I don't know. I don't know what to do. So the guy says, listen, you have these options. You can do this, or you can do that, or you can do this, and you can do that. And you'll say, wow, this guy is so wise, but he doesn't help me any because I need to know what to do, right? I need an answer. I need an advice. I don't need a selection, a multiple choice. That I need one advice, an advice that connects the very beginning, the Kesa Elyon, the whole Kavon. I need to solve a problem. That's why I'm asking you, B'chlal. All the way down to Eitzel and Maisa. That's what that flow from top to bottom is Eitzel. It's an advice, which means I'm giving you what is the solution that fits the main Kavona Milchatchila. Why am I asking you? I have a problem. I need to solve it. Which that's the in the Kesa Elyon. So he says, so Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, I am the middle, Kesa Elyon. Rabbi Lozo, you are the Bchina Chochma. Rabbi Abba, you are Bchinas Bina. Because until now, he says, he means to say as follows. Anan Klal, the Kola, we are the totality, the combination, the combining of everything. Ad kan istaknu kayamin. Until now that you set, the three of us, and we have agreed, we came to an agreement to explain and reveal the side of Olam Atikun. And he says, now, istaknu kayamin, now there are pillars that have been established. Because when the three of them have sat down, came four different pillars to the four different sides of the world. And there was a holy paroches like Rabbi Chuppah on top of these amudim. And this was the paroches Elyoino Akdoisha, which exists between Oilama Bria and Oilama Atzilus. And the Shechina came down and rested upon these amudim. And Malach HaShoris and Holy Neshamas came together, behind this pargod, behind this pareches, this chuppah, above them. No, they were in the field. They're talking about spiritual. It's not a physical. These are not physical columns. This is a spiritual columns. It's like by chuppah when they're holding physical sticks. Now we're talking about when the three of them started learning, there came Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, his son Rabbi Lozo, and his Talmud Rabbi Abba. So when they they agreed to reveal the secrets of this Olam Atikun, there came this spiritual reality of four columns, like in the Chopa, and there was that, the paroches above, and above it, the Shechina came down, and Shomas Ligvan Gan Eden came down, and the Malachim came down to hear what they were saying. The Tzaddikim from Gan Eden. And when Reb Shimon told the Talmidim, told his son, and Rabbi Abba and the rest of the Talmidim, until now there are those pillars, the parochas above them, Ishtaku, all the Chaverim, remain quiet, to be able to gaze upon the Shechina and the Nishot Tzaddikim. Shamu Kala, they heard a voice, they heard a noise of the Pamala Shamala, the heavenly entourage that came down upon them, and they were embedded in this pareches. And their knees were knocking one another from fear, from the awe, from the Shechina. My kala, what is the sound that the Chaverim heard? Kala the Chnufya Elo the Miskanfe, the sound of the heavenly entourage when they come together to hear the secrets that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai will be Megala. And with this, the fact that the Shechina came, the Malachim came, the Neshamas came, Shimon Bar Yochai saw that this was Es Rotzon, it was a fictitious hour. And this is befitting in order to reveal the secrets. That Hashem at the end of the Torah will explain how the entire Torah is Melubish in this Maimer. That Hashem, we will finish here. And Bezat Hashem we will continue next week, same time, same place. Shkoyach. Sie wachsen der Torah, und Git gewünscht dir, Bezat Hashem.